everybody! What story have we got today? We've got a story called The Golden Lads. Golden Lads, it sounds a bit like, yeah, mate, Golden Lads. But I'm not sure it is. So we'll see what it's about, shall we? The Golden Lads. And again, it's one of these stories that's been passed down through time. It's a bit what we call a fable or a tale, okay? So, a poor man and his wife lived in a little cottage. They supported themselves by catching fish in the nearest river and got on as best as they could, living from hand to mouth. One day it happened that when a fisherman drew in his net, he found a remarkable fish. It was entirely gold. A goldfish, imagine that. As he was inspecting it with some surprise, the fish opened its mouth and said, "Listen to me, fisher. If you will just throw me back in the water, I'll turn your poor little cottage into a splendid castle." The fisher said, "Well, what good, pray, will a castle do to me if I've nothing to eat in it?" "Oh," said the fish, "I'll take care of that. There will be a cupboard in the castle." I wonder if fishers do talk like that. One time. "There will be a cupboard in the castle in which you will find dishes of every kind of food you can wish for the most." "Oh, all right then, if that's the case," said the man, "I have no objection to oblige you." "Yes," observed the fish, "but there is one condition attached to my offer." There's always a condition, isn't there? "And that is that you are not to reveal to a soul where your good fortune comes from. If you say a word about it, it will all vanish." So man threw the fish into the water and went home. But on the spot where his cottage used to stand, he found a spacious castle. He opened his eyes wide, and he went in and found his wife dressed out in smart clothes, and sitting in a splendidly furnished drawing room. She was in high spirits, and cried out, "Oh, husband! Oh, how can all this have happened? I'm so pleased." "Yes," said her husband, "and so am I pleased, but I am uncommonly hungry, and I want something to eat at once." Said his wife, "Oh, I've got nothing. I don't know where I can get anything in this new house." "Never mind," replied the man. "I see a big cupboard over there. Suppose you unlock it." When the cupboard was open, they found meat, cake, fruit, wine, all spread out in the most tempting fashions. The wife clapped her hands with joy and cried, "Oh, dear heart! What more could one wish for?" And they sat down and ate and drank. When they'd finished, the wife asked, "But husband, where do all these riches come from?" "Ah," he said, "don't ask me. I dare not tell you. If I reveal the secret to anyone, it'll all be up. It'll all be up with us. Oh, it'll all be up with us." "Oh, okay." "Very well," she replied. "If I'm not to be told, of course I don't want to know anything about it." But she was not really in earnest, for her curiosity never left her for a moment's peace, day or night. She really wanted to know, and she teased and she worried her husband to such a pitch that at length he quite lost his patience and blurted out all that came from the wonderful golden fish which he had caught and set free. So she nagged him and nagged him and nagged him because she really wanted to know what was going on, and he told her. So what do we think is going to happen? Hardly the words fell out of his mouth when the castle, the cupboard, everything all vanished, and they were sitting in their poor little fishing hut once more. Oh dear. The man had to betake himself to his former trade, and he set to fishing again. Now, as luck would have it, guess what he did? You guessed it, he caught the golden fish for a second time. "Now listen," said the golden fish. "If you'll throw me back in the water, I'll give..." Fish do that, don't I? "I'll give you back the castle and the cupboard with all its good things, but now take care, for if you don't, your life betray where you got them, or you'll just lose them again. Don't for your life betray where you got them, or you'll lose them again." "Oh, I'll be very careful," promised the fisher, and he threw the fish back into the water. Now, when he went home, he found all their former splendour restored, and his wife was overjoyed with their good fortune. But curiosity still continued to torment her. Oh, God, here she goes again. And after restraining it with a great effort for a couple of days, she began questioning her husband again as to what's happened and how he'd managed it. Now, the man kept silence for some time, but at last she'd irritated him so much that he burst out the secret. And guess what happened? In one moment, the castle was gone and they were sat in the old hut again. You'd have thought they'd have learned, wouldn't you? There, exclaimed the man, you would have it now. We may just go on short commons. Oh, said his wife. After all, I'd rather not have all the riches in the world. If I can't know where they've come from, I shall not have a moment's peace. The man took to his fishing again, and one day fate brought the goldfish into his net for the third time. Wowzers! He's caught it again. Well, said the fish, I see that I am evidently destined to fall into your hands. Now, take me home. Cut me into 6 pieces and give 2 bits to your wife to eat, 2 bits to your horse, and plant the remaining in the garden, and they will bring you a blessing. Oh, okay. So the man carried the fish home and did exactly what he'd been told to do. After a time, it came to pass that the 2 pieces that he planted in the garden, 2 golden lilies grew up, and that the horse who had 2 golden foals, and whilst his wife gave birth to twin boys who were all golden. I know some twins. They're not boys, but I know some twins. So one of them is a boy. That sounded daft. One of them is a boy, the other one is a girl. The children grew up all tall and handsome, and the foals and the lilies grew with them. One day the children came to their father and said, Father, we want to mount on golden steeds and ride forth to see the world. So they want some golden horses. Their father answered sadly, How can I bear it if you were far away and I know nothing about you? He said, The golden lilies. And they said, The golden lilies will tell you all about us if you look at them. If they seem to droop, you will know we are ill, and if they fall down and fade, it will be a sign that we are dead. Oh, dear me. So off they rode and came to an inn where there were a number of people. So as soon as they saw the 2 golden lads, they began to laugh and jeer at him. When one of them heard this, his heart failed him. He thought he would go on no further in the world, so he turned back and rode home to his father. But his brother rode on until he reached the outskirts of a huge forest. Here he was told, It will never do for you to ride through the forest. It's full of robbers and you're sure to come to grief, especially when they see that you and your horse are golden. They will certainly fall on you and kill you. However, he was not to be intimidated, but just said, I must and will ride on. So the boy is golden and the horse is golden in a forest. Right. So he procured some bear skins and he covered himself and the horse with them, so that a particle of gold could not be seen. And then he rode bravely on into the heart of the forest. So he's gone in disguise now, so he's covered up all his gold. When he had got some way, he heard a rustling through the bushes, and presently a sound of voices. Someone whispered on one side of him, There goes someone, and was answered from the other side, Oh, let him pass. He's only a bear keeper, and as poor as any church mouse. So Golden Lad rode through the forest, and no harm befell him. Now, one day he came to a village where he saw a girl who struck him as being the loveliest creature in the whole world, and he felt a great love for her, and he went up to her and he said, Oh, I love you with all my heart. Will you be my wife? He's a bit forward, isn't he? And the girl liked it. Oh, she liked him. And the girl liked him so much that she put her hand on his and said, Yes, I will be your wife and will be true to you for as long as I live. So they were married, and in the middle of the festivities and rejoicings, the bride's father came home and was not a little surprised at finding his daughter celebrating her wedding. He inquired, And who's this bridegroom? And then someone pointed out to him the golden lad, who was still wrapped up in bearskin. And the father exclaimed angrily, "Never shall a mere bearkeeper have my daughter," and tried to rush at him and kill him. But the bride did all she could to pacify him and begged hard, saying, "After all, he is my husband and I love him with all my heart." So at length he gave in. However, he could not dismiss the thought from his mind, and the next morning he rose very early, for he felt he must go and look at his daughter's husband and see whether he was really nothing better than a mere ragged beggar. So he went to his son-in-law's room, who should he see lying in a bed but a splendid golden man, and the rough bearskin was thrown on the ground close by. Then he slipped quietly away and thought to himself, how lucky am I that I managed to control my rage. I should certainly have committed a great crime. Meantime, the golden lad dreamt that he was out hunting and was giving chase to a noble stag. And when he woke, he said to his bride, "I must go off and hunt." And she felt very anxious and begged that he would stay at home, adding, "Some mishap might befall you easily." But he answered, "I must go, and I will." So, do you want to look? There's a picture there. I don't know what's going on. We're going to find out in a minute. So he went off into the forest, and before long, a fine stag, such as he'd only seen in his dream, stopped in front of him. He took aim and was about to fire when the stag bounded away. Good. That didn't get shot then, did it? Then he started off in pursuit, making his way through the bushes and the briars, and never stopped all day. But in the evening, the stag entirely disappeared. And when the golden lad came to look about him, he found himself just opposite a hut in which lived a witch. We love a witch, don't we? He knocked at the door, which was opened by a little old woman, who asked, "What do you want at this late hour in the midst of a great forest?" He said, "Haven't you seen a stag about here?" "Yes," she said, "I know the stag well." And she spoke, and as she spoke, a little dog ran out of the house and began barking and snapping at a stranger. "Be quiet, you little toad," he cried, "or I'll shoot you dead." Oh, then the witch flew into a rage and screamed, "What, you'll kill my dog, will you?" And in the next moment, he was turned to stone, and he lay there immovable, while his bride waited for him in vain and thought to herself, "Alas, no doubt the evil I feared, and which has made my heart so heavy, has befallen him." Right. Meantime, the other brother who didn't go, do you remember? The one who the other didn't go through the forest. He went home. He was standing near the golden lilies at home when suddenly one of them bent over and fell to the ground. "Good heavens!" he cried. "Some great misfortune has befallen my brother. I must set off at once. Perhaps I may still be in time to save him." Okay, so his father entreated him. "Stop at home. If I should lose you two, what would become of me?" But his son replied, "I must go, and I will go." Then he mounted his golden horse and he rode off till he reached the forest, where his brother lay transformed to stone. Dum, dum, dum. Right, the old witch came out of her house and called to him, for she would gladly have cast her spell on him too. But he took care not to go near, and he called out, "Restore my brother to life at once, or I'll shoot you down on the spot." Reluctantly, she touched the stone with a finger, and in a moment it resumed its human shape. So the two golden lads fell into each other's arms and kissed each other with joy, and rode off together to the edge of the forest, where they parted, one to return to his old father, and the other went back to his wife, his bride. When the former got home to his father, his father said, "I knew you'd delivered your brother, for all of a sudden that golden lily reared itself up and burst into blossom." And they all lived happily to the end of their lives, and all things went well with them. Wow. Wow. That went all over the place, that story, didn't it? Anyway, today's shout out, I think we'll look at those twinnies, shall we? Because it was a story about twins. Not two boys, though. I know two, a boy and a girl, Parker and Forrest. So this story was for you because it had twins in it. Anyway, bye!